and welcome to another episode of our Women in STEM series. My name is Kaylee Peile, and I'm the Director of Development for the Linda Hall Library. Today, our guest is Megan Whitman from BRR Architecture. Megan, welcome and thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So to start the conversation, I would love to hear about your journey. What was the impetus that led you into architecture, and what has that experience been like so far?
Yeah, so it started out really young. I grew up in a family that we had a lot of creatives in the group. Specifically, I had a grandmother who was kind of the wacky, fun grandma, but she was always wanting to build things, create things. So, if we had an idea, they had a farm, we wanted to build a chicken coop, she'd be like, okay, let's go to the store, let's do it. So I feel like we always had that influence growing up. So with that, I have a sister who's 10 years older, and she had similar influence and I think inspiration from our family. And so she's actually an architect here in Kansas City. So that was definitely my inspiration growing up. I saw her journey through college, starting her career, and that was really what got me started thinking about architecture and design.
I love that. I love that you have two sister presence in Kansas City. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's also nice to hear a lot of the women that I've talked to for this series, they do usually have a strong woman in their life at some point that really, stewarded that growth and that creativity. So I'm glad to hear that you had that as well.
Yeah, and as I was thinking about this interview, that was definitely something I was thinking about is, I've been so fortunate to have those influences in my life. And, even starting my career in architecture, I wanted to think about multiple careers besides just architecture. So I actually went to K-State in interior architecture. So when I started, I had several mentors that were in the interior design architecture community that really helped me down that path and find my way.
That makes total sense. So I guess starting at K-State and going into your career now at BRR, what were the experiences and the opportunities and the tools that were really helpful and essential in your growth?
Yeah, so at K-State, again, going into interior architecture, I knew that I wanted to do something that challenged me and kind of pushed me to be a problem solver. So that's how I ended up in that discipline. And then graduating from K-State, I started at BRR right out of school.
Wow.
So I've been there now over 17 years, which I know isn't common in the industry, but for me, what's led me to BRR and staying at BRR is really the breadth of opportunity of project types, client types, really getting to jump in and do a lot of different things. We talk a lot about architecture as an apprenticeship. And so even me in my career at 17 years, I'm still learning every day. And I feel like I found a company that's allowed me to grow and continue to learn throughout the whole length of my career.
That is really refreshing to hear, and I can completely understand and resonate with that. A lot of people who interact with the library were also lifelong learners, and there needs to be a lot of new opportunities for adults to continue learning and growing in their career. So I'm glad to hear that BRR is offering you that. As far as your role within BRR, can you explain kind of what your day-to-day looks like?
Yeah, it's definitely evolved over the years.
Sure.
So when I started at BRR, fresh out of school, I was really focused on remodels and tenant improvement projects, which I think really played to my strengths from the interior architecture side. And then as I grew in my career in leadership, I started to get more involved in different initiatives with the company, and I would say within the community as well. So today as Senior Vice President, I do a lot of strategic planning for the firm, but my passion really lends towards development and mentorship of our team. So again, another great thing about BRR is all the resources that we have. Again, with the apprenticeship, we really focus on that. So we do a lot with teaching and development. We have, an LMS system. We do a lot of in-house trainings. We also have a mentorship program that I've helped get up off the ground and running over the past 5 years, which is great because it really allows us to make sure that our team members are getting that support they need to continue to develop in their career.
Right.
So that's a lot of my day-to-day now is really big picture strategic thinking, but really people is my passion with the firm and seeing them grow and develop into well-rounded architects.
I can tell even the way you're speaking about it, you're really passionate about it, which I love that. I think that it's important, we're at the library trying to do more intentional empowerment when it comes to the different career exploration opportunities we have, mentorship, like you're saying, and those opportunities are super important for somebody, especially a young person in their career. They want to feel like they're being invested in, and that's why they stay. You've been there for 17 years. I understand why you would when there are so many opportunities. So now that you're moving into more strategic planning with BRR, what are some of the things that you're excited about when it comes to your place in the region?
Yeah, I mean, Kansas City right now, there's so much going on, you know, growth and development of this city and, you know, so much opportunity. Specific to Kansas City, you know, BRR is part of KC Global Design, which is part of the Kansas City Area Development Council, and their goal is really to help shed a light on Kansas City and the great design AEC industry that we have here. So it's been really exciting to be a part of that and see the growth and just the light that it's shedding on the city. You know, I think in industry as a whole in architecture, you know, a lot of what I do and what BRR does is retail and grocery design. And I always tell, you know, interns that are coming out of school, you know, how exciting it is right now to be in the architecture field, especially commercial architecture. You know, you think about grocery or retail design, and in my opinion, for a long time, nothing changed. And you think about the last 5 to 10 years and just the rapid pace of change. And especially with us at BRR and the clients we work with, you know, we're really help leading that change. We're working with companies that are the leaders of the industry and innovation, and we're able to be a part of that. And so that passion for me is really exciting, and I think it's really exciting for those that are in the field today, and I hope others see that and want to join that.
Absolutely. I think that that's something, I think that's really, really important. And when it comes to kind of the landscape of Kansas City, what are the things, so BRR, it sounds like you're doing, you know, immense work when it comes to being really intentional, mentorship, all these opportunities. What are some things that you would like to see happen more? How can we collaborate better, and how could we better serve our young people in our region?
Yeah, I'm sure most firms do this, but, you know, we really try to invest in the pipeline. So we look at elementary schools, how can we get involved and talk about architecture, middle school, high school, and then at the college level, BRR being a national firm across the country, we have scholarships with multiple colleges across the country just to help those that want to enter the field that maybe have that barrier and help them get that education so that they can enter the career. So I see that as a huge thing moving forward, is just how do we keep that pipeline moving forward so that we continue to have those entering the field and having that passion for design.
Absolutely. So when we're talking about the pipeline then, I guess my last question would be, what do you think the future of women in STEM in Kansas City, it can just be regional or it can be more national, what does that look like for you? What are you excited about?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think just the rapid pace of exciting change in architecture, just in, you know, how people interact. You know, I think more than ever, the human impact of architecture is becoming more and more important. You know, over the past several years, people want to have an experience if they're going to leave the house. And I think as architects, that's a huge part of what we do, is we create these experiences in the buildings that people enter. So I think that's a huge thing to celebrate moving forward. You know, and I think something else that we talk a lot about is AI and how it's going to change the field. And, you know, I don't have the answer to that, but I think it's exciting because it's going to shift and change things. But I think for the better, it's going to challenge us and really move us forward in new directions that we didn't know we were going to head.
Absolutely. We're doing a lot of focus on AI and climate when it comes to programming in the coming years. So I'll keep you posted on some of the things that we're talking about and the people that we're bringing in for that conversation. I think it's really, really important. I think AI specifically, we need to be able to tame the beast and use it as a tool, right? And instead of being so kind of afraid of what it might, what it could do.
It's going to happen whether we like it or not.
Exactly.
So we've got to find the way to work with it.
Absolutely. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share about regarding your work in the field or BRR in general?
No, I think again, I think it's a really exciting time to be in architecture, and, you know, I hope everyone sees the opportunity, and I would just encourage anyone that has that passion for design to find ways to interact. Again, there's so much opportunity in Kansas City and across the country to get involved.
I totally agree. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.